This is our paranormal podcast because this is our paranormal community, and we want to support you here on RU Media Network. We are proud to be sponsored by the Haunted Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. Here are your hosts, Brian Mersall and Sean Gilmore.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to our paranormal podcast here on RU Media Network. How's it going, brother? Brian?
Good. How are you, Sean?
Good, man. It's been a crazy week. I'm a little bit tired, but we're going to have fun tonight. We have an awesome guest.
Yes, we do.
Tim, correct me if is it Tim Maile?
It's not, but nobody gets it right, so it's okay. It's Maile.
Maile, okay.
Yeah.
So you have one of those last names where it's like if a bill collector is calling you, you know right away.
Yeah, I know whether I know you personally or not. So that helps weed them out.
That's great. That's like the best thing because actually, at least back in the day, like before cell phones, not everybody had caller ID. Only some people had caller ID, and then you get a call and they say your name completely wrong.
Oh yeah,
you're like, oh, wrong number. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow. Man, guys, real quick. I want to start off tonight just doing a little bit of house cleaning because I've actually had an awesome experience within the paranormal community this week. My friends, Brian, Felicia, he has cancer. He's fighting cancer, and he and his wife Angela are investigators. They're with part of our community, and they need some help. And they tried to set up a GoFundMe account, and that account got compromised, so they had to cancel that account. And so I decided I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something to help. I was like, you know what? Let's do a ghost hunt. What's more appropriate to try and raise money for them? Do a public ghost hunt, right? And man, the first place I reached out to, the first guy I reached out to, Austin Maynard. He's with Underground Paranormal Network. He runs several facilities, and he's like, dude, which place do you want? He didn't even think twice about it. No hesitation. I'm like, whoa, okay, wait a minute. And it was just like such a great surprise. So I reached out to a Dark Alley Paranormal, and I'm like, guys, we're an event team. Let's do this. And they're backing it. They're awesome. And so we chose the location. And the location is actually a really cool place called Middle Point School, guys. This place is supposed to be insane. So I'm pumped. I'm so pumped. And then I saw that Dan Class, he made a fundraiser on Facebook for the Felicias. So I reached out to Dan Class, and I'm like, hey, dude, why don't you come and join us for our event? And he agreed. He didn't even hesitate. And he actually made it easy to choose the date that it's on because it's the only day that he's available, which is August 7th. We're doing a public ghost hunt to help raise money for the Felicias at Middle Point School here in Ohio. It's going to be hosted by Dark Alley Paranormal, and it's going to be awesome. I do have some loose ends I need to tie up before I make the official announcement. But guys, it's the love that's coming from this is amazing. I reached out. I know Addie does she helps out a lot with Madison Seminary and with a Resident Undead for Kimmel. And so I reached out to her for some ideas and helping them like getting tickets and all of that. And she actually ended up offering a location for a second event. So there might be two. I'm not locking that in yet. I have to get the approval from the team, but dude, just to offer it is amazing. I mean, guys, for a location to give up a prime Friday or Saturday night, that's a big deal. For a person like Dan Class to come and offer his time like that, that's a huge deal, guys. This is going to be an awesome event. These are awesome locations, but really right now we're focusing on Middle Point and Eric McGill actually he's going to make a really cool poster. You know, he's a freaking whiz when it comes to making cool pictures and stuff. So I'm excited to see what he comes up for that. Guys, I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry to take up the first 5 minutes. I'm just so excited that people are just making it so easy, man. It was just like an idea, and then literally an hour later it was an event. So, and that's because of the support through the community. So, man, guys, this is awesome. This is seriously awesome. And this is actually, I think, going to help feed into our show tonight, because Tim has a really cool thing that he does. And if you want to talk, I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but you'll see the website. It's Potographs for Pooches. And this is a kind of like a fundraising that you do for dogs, right?
Yep. I've been doing that since 2013. Very cool what you're doing. I hope the event goes well, and I know Dan very well, and Dan is a class guy, so no pun intended. I didn't even. He's a great guy though, and happy that he's a part of that, and I hope you guys do really well.
Thank you, I appreciate it. The Felicias are really good people. I've known them for years. Honestly, I've never met them in person. I've spoken with them on through Messenger, through FaceTime, and I've also played a little bit of Call of Duty with Brian. So I mean, it's they're good people, man. They really are. And I know that once he gets healthy, we're going to throw another event, and it's going to be in celebration for his health. So, so I'm this whole thing, man, the way that the community's come together. Jeff Fent, I know I saw Brian brought up a comment from Jeff. Guys, Jeff Fent, he is selling literally pieces of wood from the Hinsdale House, and all you got to do is make a donation for Brian. Hit up Jeff Fent, and he'll get you a piece of the Hinsdale House, and it's just to help out the Felicias. So that's an awesome thing that he's doing. So there's a lot of people that in the community that are coming together to help out the Felicia family, which is awesome. So sorry, I got back into it again. Here, so I don't do it again. One last thing. I did notice that I did state that Dan Class did start a fundraiser. Find him on Facebook. I know I shared it. I invited a ton of people. Find that, and any donation helps, guys. He's going through chemo right now, and he's still working. He's still working. He's still trying to support his family, and that's got to be hard. That's got to be real hard. And I could only imagine that it's only going to get harder. So they're really going to need our help more and more as time goes on, because he's only in the beginning stages of fighting it. I think he's gotten, I think it was like 3 or 4 of his chemo therapy doses. So he's got a long ways to go. It's a long road. So luckily he's got a good wife, good partner. Angela, she is amazing. I don't know if anyone who's friends with them, they're always posting like these cheese ball. I shouldn't say that, but they are. They're really cheesy. They're delightful. They're cheesy about how much they care for each other. It's awesome. It's motivational. But at the same time, you kind of want to be like, yeah. But it's awesome that they have that. They have an awesome support system. They're just good, fun people. And I would poke fun at them on their posts. That's why I kind of made that comment. So yeah. Oh yeah, Jeff says it's very hard for him. It is. And he's working, he's going to work as long as he can, like any good father, any good husband would, right? They're going to do their best because they don't want their family to be negatively affected by their health, you know? So I don't know. So thank you for letting me talk about that now for 10 minutes.
So Tim, if people are popping in here, and if somehow they haven't heard about you, how would you introduce yourself to the paranormal community?
First and foremost, I want to be known as a paranormal investigator. I've been doing that for a little over 13 years now. We're up here in Wisconsin. I run Fox Cities Paranormal Team. And like I said, 13 years into it. Long story short, got into it because I had things happening in my home and I couldn't get anybody to help me. So I educated myself. And then at some point I decided, hey, there's got to be people out there that need help too. And they're not getting the help they need. So, here we are, like I said, 13 years later and somewhere around 250, 275 residential cases.
Nice.
This has become quite the passion for me and opened up doors and given me a platform for polygraphs for pooches, and been able to make that a success too. So the paranormal field has been very good to me, and I don't know if I could ever repay it for everything it's given me.
Isn't it neat how like once we get together, there's that paradrama. Everybody hates that paradrama, but man, when it's good, it's freaking good.
I've gotten lucky because I guess I just don't run with that crowd. I don't get much of the drama. Not many people come at the guy that raises money for dogs. So, they leave me alone. I leave them alone. But no, it's pretty surreal. 13 years ago when I started doing the paranormal investigation, I never imagined that it would open up as many doors as it has. And you try your very best to remember where you came from, and don't let it get to your head. And I got a real great support system within Fox Cities Paranormal Team. Been working with Todd Arnold with the team. He helps me run the team. Been working with him for the entire 13 plus years. And at one point when we started getting opportunities, I looked at Todd and I said, if I ever change who I am, I want you to punch me right in the face. And and he hasn't yet, so we're good, I think.
Nice. So, everyone here is 13 years, and you just have to ask the hard questions, Tim. Have you ever, investigated with a dog? 250, residential cases. Do you involve the pets at all? Like, what's going on?
If the pet is at the home, we don't ask them to take the pet out. Mm-hmm. I've never brought a dog in to do an investigation.
Yeah.
We'll get into the polygraph stuff at some point, I'm sure, but I've gotten that question a lot. Did you ever bring Murray into an investigation? Doing this for this long, and I'm sure you guys know, we don't really always know what we're walking into.
Correct.
Some of those cases can be quite dark. Yeah. And I'm making that decision to go into that home, that location. And I've never felt comfortable making that decision for another living being and not knowing how they're going to react to it. So I know that dogs and cats can be more sensitive to activity. I just have never thought to put them in that position against their will. So it's just where I come from on it.
You know what? It's funny. It's funny you actually say that, because I have 2 dogs, and my dogs are rescues. And my one dog, he seems to be like he's really in tune to when there is spirit around. And one time I just took him for a walk, and I felt something. I'm an empath, and I felt something kind of like off to my side, and we both stopped at the same time, and we looked, and then he looked up at me. And he just like had this weird look on his face. Like he turned around. He wanted to go the other way. I was like, okay, because I knew that he was sensitive. But that moment is what told me, okay, he's not going to like it if I take him on investigation. So I kind of let go of that idea because
it's like,
I don't know, it just didn't seem like he liked it. He didn't like that there was something over there that whatever he saw, he didn't like it. And so, if we were to go to, whether if it's a historical location or a private residence, like you said, Tim, you never know what you're going to come across. And if it's something that's negative, you're right. That we make the choice to go there. And if we bring our dog somewhere, we make that choice for them. And it's definitely not fair. So unless it's the Parapooch. The Parapooch, he'll go. He just needs a new voice box. So you mentioned that you do a lot of private residence investigations.
Yep. It really came about just because of how I got into the field, not being able to get the help that I needed. So we really concentrated on helping those families that need answers, need some comfort, and it just that was the focus from the beginning. We've done some quote unquote fun investigations. I get a chance to do a lot of events now and do public hunts. I'm not a real big fan of public hunts, but I'll do them. We have to do them with the Photographs for Pooches events also. But yeah, it's rewarding for me to help a family figure out what's happening in their home. And it's just, the first year or so was pretty slow. And then, things kind of got traction and it really is all by word of mouth, and if you treat people right and they're happy with what you did in their home, then they're more than likely going to tell a friend if their friend confides in them and says, hey, I got these things happening in my home. I don't know who to call. So it's always incredibly humbling when we get a referral because somebody else is saying, hey, these people will do their very best to help you.
Definitely. Honestly, that's what got me into paranormal too. That's my bread and butter. I like doing the historical locations too, because one, it helps raise money for historical sites, but also it's a learning experience. Mm-hmm. I take what I learn at those locations and I bring them to the private residences, and that's kind of how I've always been. I started out doing the paranormal investigations, and then I met Eric McGill and I got into Ectovision Paranormal, and our big thing, was going to the historical locations and making the documentaries. But we did also do a lot of private residences, and that's what the biggest thing. Those it's so neat about being able to go to these big locations, because it's kind of like training, right? On-site training, kind of. It just makes you more prepared. I'm a hands-on learner, and I like to go to these locations and learn and see and be maybe better prepared, for when that next thing that might jump out at me might be.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. Every investigation that we do, no matter if it's real active or if it's not, there's always a chance to get better as a team. Whether it's residential or a historical location. There might not be a lot of activity, but you get a chance to work together. You get better as a unit, and better with the equipment, better with being hands-on with the family. A lot of people don't understand when you get into residential cases, there are times when you become a part of that family. You spend so much time with that family, and our most famous case we worked on for 2 years, and those people, that started 11 years ago. Now I feel old. 11 years ago we started working with that family, and they had small children, and now they're all out of the house and grown and have their own lives, and to watch that is just it's surreal, and then it makes you realize just how long we've been doing this. But yeah, every chance, every opportunity, there's something to be learned. I used to get a lot of flack because I did a lot of Paracons, paranormal conventions, but that's how you network. And I have so many friends. I have so many friends within the paranormal that if we have a problem on a case, a residential case, and I don't necessarily know exactly what to do, or I don't have experience with what we're dealing with, I can call them and I can get that family help. It really comes down to getting that family help and helping the spirit, and you really need to take the ego out of it.
Definitely. And a lot of people have this misconception that you can go in, investigate the house one time, and the problem's solved. And that's just not the case at all, ever.
I can't remember the last time that happened.
Right. Unless we were able to debunk everything. Right. And it's even a lot of the clients, they think that it's like, no, we have to, there's going to be steps. There's going to be steps. We're going to have to go. We're going to go and we'll investigate, let you know what we first found, kind of let you know kind of our theories. But here, there's going to be steps, right? We can't just go and give you all the answers after coming to your house one time. Yeah. So I think that a lot of people are kind of disappointed by that. But it's, this isn't TV. A lot of times when you hear about these cases, when you go to, when you see like Paranormal Survivor or any of those other shows where they interview the client and the investigator, they don't realize that a lot of these cases take years to take care of, and because all they see is a 10-minute segment, and
then they come back to the the homeowners. This is what we found. This is what you do, and it worked, right? No, it's like an evolving process.
Yeah. So they skip the whole process. They're just like, yep, this is the scary stuff, and then this is how we got rid of it. Boom, it's magic. So with doing private home investigations, anyone who does a lot of private home investigations knows, of course, the risk of the paranormal, the supernatural. You don't know what you're walking into, but there's also a certain risk factor of the person's house you're going into. In the beginning, it's a stranger's home. You could be walking into any type of situation. And so as an investigator, we have to, interview and kind of have a process, right? To kind of try and eliminate ourselves from being either in a dangerous situation or in any sort of precarious situation, I guess, if you will. It's because sometimes there's a lot of things that come across, right? It could be there's mental health issues that come across. There's so much. So is there something that your team has? Is there specific steps that you go through with the client before you go to their home and you have that first initial interview or face-to-face interview? Sorry.
We usually, get some sort of an email exchange going back and forth, and then we'll do a phone interview, and then from there, I like to visit the family just to kind of get a feeling of who they are and what they're about. You're right though. Anybody, look at the podcast coming in. But in all seriousness, we do try to eliminate any issues, potential issues, but there's always some risk involved with going to another person's house. I think I've only turned away 2 people in the 13 years, and both of those people insisted that they follow us around the whole night so they could make sure we didn't take anything from them. And my feeling is if you can't trust me enough not to steal from you, then you shouldn't trust me enough to have me in your home and try to help you either.
Yeah.
So,
touche.
So those are the only 2 we really turned away. Yeah, coming from where I did and getting into the field for the reasons that I did, we end up with a lot of cases that aren't anything, but it's still valuable to that family. Mm-hmm. That we came in there and kind of explained, hey, these are the logical reasons. There's nothing really to fear here. And so we end up with a lot of those. We end up with your cases that are a little negative once in a while. But a lot of them are like, Grandma Jean or Grandma Edna. Mm-hmm. And people just fear what they don't understand. And once you're able to explain that stuff to them and what it may be, you can kind of see that melt away.
It's bridging that gap, right? There's a gap of communication. Once you're able to bridge that gap, I've noticed that too. Most of the time, nothing needs to be removed from the house. Maybe a saging to bring in some positive energy, bring in some, kill some of that bacteria in the air. change the vibes a little bit. But honestly, most of the time, it's just bridging that communication gap. I've noticed that too. But you do have those, one-offs that it's a little bit more. Or, sometimes there's something that has an attachment on a specific item.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple where I've had to remove items. There was one case that I had to actually, we found a voodoo doll in their daughter's room that the parents had no clue about. So it's interesting, the stuff that we come across. That's for sure.
That's an easy tell. So you've been, doing it 13 years across 250 houses, like different, communities. You can kind of almost have like a heat map of where all you've been and whatnot. And the question here, that's not this one, but we will get to that. Have you noticed more activity in certain areas of your area, or is it pretty spread out? So like on like your heat map, are there like a specific, like, does geographical location play a factor into how active a location would be?
We will go anywhere in Wisconsin and even into Michigan if we need to. We've done cases on the Illinois border. So we're all over the place, and I haven't really noticed anything as a pattern as to like a heat map type thing. I will tell you this, though. It's nice to get cases that are, relatively close. Where you're not driving home at 3 a.m. There's been some cases that have been 3 hours away, and you get home and the sun's coming up at 6 a.m, and you're like, oh man. Todd Arnold, who runs the team with me, he loves to tell the story of our first investigation. It was 2 hours away from home, and as he puts it, there were 4 of us in the car on the way home, and he was the only one awake at one point, and he wasn't driving. And he kept asking me if I wanted a Mountain Dew, and I kept telling him I was fine. And then all of a sudden, I was hitting the rumble strips. But yeah, it's important to us. So anywhere we're asked to go, we'll go.
Yeah.
The more I've done this, though, there's people that I know in other states, pretty well connected in the Michigan community as far as the paranormal, just because they have been so behind Photographs for Pooches, and I've made so many great friends in Michigan. But when it comes to the Wisconsin stuff, and we get asked to go to a home, no matter how far away it is, I don't think it's an ego thing. I think it's a confidence thing where this family needs help, and if I'm not willing to go there and try to help them, then why am I doing this? Mm-hmm. So we'll do what we can to drop everything and get there and help them. We're not perfect by any means, but we sure try to be as close to perfect as we can.
Yeah. But perfection doesn't come with a price tag. Like, you're not going out there to charge money because someone asked, do you ever tell a client that you'll be able to clean their house of spirit? There are groups out there that, we've seen that are charging like $1.5K to do this. What's your take on this?
I have never taken a dime for a paranormal investigation in a home, and I won't. It doesn't feel ethical to me. And to the paranormal field, there's no guarantees. And if I can't guarantee results, then why am I charging a family? I don't think there should be a price tag on somebody being comfortable in their own home.
Correct.
So, there's a lot of money I've put into this, but I make that choice. So you'll never see me complaining about, the money I spent to get to this investigation, because, that's all on me. And if you can't afford to go to the investigation, then, maybe find something else to do with your weekend. But
I think that when it comes to dealing with the paranormal, supernatural, if you're in this and let me reword this. If you are offering to go into people's homes and offer them a solution for a supernatural issue, if you're charging them money, you are in this for the wrong reasons. That's my personal opinion. There are ways to make money in the paranormal community, and we try to support a lot of those people. It's just awesome. But to go and charge somebody for a private investigation of their home is, I agree, unethical. There's no way when you pay someone for a service, you expect a certain outcome. You deserve, I need a new roof. Okay, great. You're going to get a new roof. And, there's no way to back what we do, but we don't get a leaky roof. We aren't exterminating cockroaches here where, there's no way to back what we do.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing process. A lot of times it's an ongoing battle that you have to have within yourself and within your home to take ownership. And it can be that, right? And so I don't know. That's a soft spot for me. Honestly, I've been at people's homes where, they'll provide us food. I have, there was one time when one client insisted on donating money to us, and we wouldn't take it. And it's like, okay, fine, we'll take this donation, but we took it and we donated to the next event that we went to. So we didn't, but we told them that's what we were doing. We said, we appreciate this very much. We're just going to go and we're going to donate this to our next event. And so as much as we appreciated it, they didn't want to take no for an answer. So it's like, it got uncomfortable, That's the only time that we said yes, is because it literally did. It got weird. It got uncomfortable.
You talk about opportunities within the paranormal. And I've been saying this for years, that if you do the work and the right people will notice that, the right people will notice the things that you're doing within the field, and you will start to get opportunities within the field. And I've been flown to events, flown to public investigations. And at the end of the day, that's kind of my reward for what we've done. And I did an interview Monday night, and I stressed that, what we've done as a team, as Fox Cities Paranormal Team, isn't just Tim. There's 11 people on Fox Cities Paranormal Team that give up their weekend at the drop of a hat, give up their family time to go into somebody else's home and try to do what they can for people they've never met before. And the work that they do makes me look really good and gets me opportunities. And that's awesome. I never lose sight of the fact that none of this that I've been able to do was done, just because of me.
Right. Yeah. It's awesome when you have a tight knit team. Who are the other people on your team?
Oh, you're going to make me name all 11. Todd Arnold, Tammy and Dylan Wenzel, Michelle Nason, Stephanie Huser, Dawn Nelson, Kelly Anderson, Aaron Reith. Oh, I'm running out of names. Jolene Seidel. And then there's one more. Oh, Jasmine Solberg.
Nice.
So great people. And I mentioned it Monday night too when I was doing another interview. When we look for new team members, if you send me an email telling me all that you know about the paranormal and you don't touch on anything else, there's a good chance you're not going to get added. Honestly, the biggest characteristic that we are looking for and searching for as a team is compassion. Mm-hmm. Because I can teach you what you need to know about the paranormal, but I can't teach you to care. I can't teach you to care about people. I can't teach you to be a good person. So I think if you start with good people, you can't help but succeed.
Yeah, it's like, I really don't care about your resume. I care about who you are as a human being and your communication skills and who you actually are. Because like any job can be taught.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you had mentioned that everybody on your team, they're ready to go, stop what they're doing and go on a drop of a hat. That is hard to find. There's a lot of. It's hard to get people to like make a schedule. It's hard to plan something a month in advance, let alone last minute.
Well, the reason we keep a big team of 11, and we'll take 3 or 4 on any given case. The reason we keep 11 people on the team is that if I get a call today and we need to get into a house on Saturday, my hope is that we can get 3 or 4 out of the 11 that'll say, yeah, I can make it this weekend. And we've had pretty good success with that. So,
I like that.
Yeah, some people get a little weirded out when I tell them we got 11 people on the team. We don't take all 11 on everything. It's just, if we have an opportunity, my hope is that 3 or 4 of those people will give up their Saturday.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Deb Johnson says, this is why we love Tim. It's all about his heart.
Deb is like a second mother to me. She's fantastic. She's one of the reasons that the events in Michigan for Pottergrass for Pooches work so well. She does
cool.
a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So checks in the mail, Deb. Thank you.
Deb, thank you for jumping on tonight. We appreciate you. And we have some other questions here. I'm just going to start from the top here, Brian. History and Headlines says, I see it's an opportunity, and I don't think we've ever been paid to do an investigation, right? We kind of touched on that. Go ahead, Brian.
The answer is no. So Dr. Czar from History and Headlines was the advisor of our college group, and he's a wonderful member of Your Paranormal. We've also never been paid, and I share the same sentiments, even though we're not predominantly, like, our main focus isn't private residences. We do them, and we do try and help, where we can. There's zero chance I would let any of my team members or team take money. That's exactly not what you want to do. The reason you help people is to, rack up good karma and to help people and to serve. You're not in. I don't even think. I know the one person mentioned 1.5K. I don't even think. There's. So I mean, one, you can't make a living. Two, it's so unethical.
A couple times a year, actually before COVID, a couple times a year, it'd always come up somewhere on Facebook about somebody in Arizona or somebody somewhere is making someone pay $5,000 or however ridiculous amount of money to expel demons out of their house. And that's where I think a lot of that comes from.
I don't like that.
No, it's horrible. It's taking advantage of people. It's taking advantage of people's fear, and that's not okay. What we do, a lot of what we do is teaching people that there isn't as much to fear as they think.
Yeah.
If I had known what I knew when I was a kid, if I knew what I knew now is about the paranormal, I wouldn't have gone home scared every night. But I would go home scared every day, thinking, what's going to happen to me tonight? And if I only knew, right? And I knew that I could have coexisted and it didn't have to be as miserable as it was. That's what I think of. That's what drives me, and that's why I get into the paranormal. And so that's why I love everything that you're saying here, Tim, because I agree 1,000%. Aaron Kasmarsik, here's something that's a little bit different.
I miss you, Aaron. Let's go.
I know, finally back. She's a regular. She just goes on like vacation or something without us. I don't know. Probably at Myrtle Beach enjoying the sun or something. How dare
she have a life?
I know. She's not allowed.
Unacceptable.
She's not allowed. She wants to know, are different types of homes more active than others? Like century homes versus farmhouses versus homes from the 70s versus new builds, etc.
To be honest with you, the biggest misconception we run into is I have a new home in this subdivision and there can't be anything here. But you have to look at what was on that land before you put that home there.
Mm-hmm.
And being in Wisconsin, it really a lot of times comes back to Native American land. And sometimes they're not all that happy. Yeah. So we've been in a few of those situations, and you try to smooth over the relationship and make sure that they understand that they're valued. And but yeah, I mean, we've had them all. Farmhouses, turn of the century homes. We've been in homes that are 150 years old, and they have all these things happening. But then you also realize that this home is 150 years old, and what I'm hearing, let's eliminate the logical before we jump to ghost. So it's I always say that every paranormal investigation is a different puzzle. No two puzzles are the same, and really it's our job as paranormal investigators to put that puzzle together. And no matter how we have to, if that means we need to call in help, if that means we need to call in a medium for help, if that means we need to call in somebody that has more experience with the type of haunting that we're dealing with. That's what I meant earlier by, you can't let your ego get in the way of this. I've gotten some pretty amazing pieces of audio
Mm-hmm.
And those cases have been very rewarding, but I've also been in homes where we got nothing. And at the end of the night, the parents said, hey, my child slept in his bed for the first time in like 2 months. This is amazing. And those honestly make me feel better than the ones where we got all of this amazing evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So, it really comes down to, why do you do this?
Yeah.
And I'm not bashing the people that go into historical locations and like to have a good time. That's fine, but just know where your potential lies and know where, which part of the paranormal field you belong in. And we've chosen the residential investigations route, and it's, I've never once regretted that decision. There's been so many times that we've really just, you kind of look in the mirror and, how lucky are we to be able to do this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's an honor when someone allows you into their home. They're trusting you, like you mentioned earlier. It's an honor for them to do that for us, and they're trusting us to fix a very personal matter. So
I'm glad you said that, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I'm getting older, and I might forget my point here if I don't say
no
it. No
problem.
But like you said, it is an honor, and out of all those teams in your area, they chose you. And I've told the team this many times: don't break that trust. They're looking to you for answers, and we may not be able to get them answers every time, but we could sure promise them that we're going to try our very best and exhaust all options in trying to get them some peace of mind and some comfort. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. It's an honor and a privilege to be called into a home and have that family put that kind of trust in you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I won't cut you off anymore. I promise. It's your show.
No problem. No, please. If there's something you want to say, it's hard when there's 3 people. We all, may come up with things, and then like me, I know I pause sometimes when I talk, so it's hard to read. So it's no worries at all. Now, my next question though, Brian is really big in keeping journals and keeping track of all your memories and all of your experiences. And for you, it's helping your clients. Do you have I'm picturing like stacks of these cases that you have locked away somewhere? Do you have anything like that?
They're all in this laptop that I'm using right now.
Nice.
So they're not physical in that sense, but yeah, I do have a good idea of all of the cases that we've done, whether there was nothing or whether they were cases that were mind-blowing. But yeah, I can pull up any of those case files and look at it and, read about it and then remember, oh yeah, that's that house. Because once you've been in like 250 places, they kind of melt together, to be honest. Right. But yeah, there are definitely, more than a few that stand out. And sometimes I go back and look at those. We did that case that ended up on Paranormal Witness 8 years ago already. And I'll be honest with you, for like 3 months after that case was finished, I caught myself like looking for that next case.
Yeah.
But then I had to remind myself that, hey, every case that we go into is just as important to that family as the one we just finished. So you owe it to that family to do your best and give them your full attention.
Definitely.
I agree.
Erin says that she's ready for you to drop of a hat, Brian. She's perfect. This is like I've known Erin for like years, since like we were teenagers, and we'd hang out. We'd play Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. All right, I'm dating us both. But she's all about Brian Mersall. She's whatever, Erin. I'm taking her to the Gill House on what day is that? After the Paracon at Ohio State Reformatory. So that'll be fun. We're gonna hang out with some friends from Illinois and Michigan. So that'll be fun. So,
No, you just said Michigan.
His reaction to Michigan.
Yeah, no. I know it's a big thing.
I know. It's a thing. You know what? I grew up outside of Cleveland, the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, all OHIO, whatever. You leave. When I was a kid, my best friend and I, we were Wolverine fans. When I was a kid, it was fun. It was fun to make all the Ohio State fans mad. But I never really cared enough to really make a big deal about it. But it was fun. But now I'm older, and I have to say, I'm going for Ohio State. You know, got to go for the home team.
I think I'm losing you guys. You still?
Yes.
But
that's funny. That is funny. Oh my goodness.
So now for me, like I love old farmhouses. I don't know, going out for some reason, these old creepy old farmhouses for some reason are like when I go and I pull up to someone's, like, do you ever get that? Like, as soon as you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one. Like, do you get that? Like, or do you keep, like, are you able to keep yourself, like, because for me, like, I kind of find myself at times like, oh yeah, I'm excited for this one.
When we pull into the driveway, there may be some of that in the car.
Yeah.
But once we get into the home, we kind of keep it at an even keel. Definitely. And just go about our business. I try not to get too caught up in the moment, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I also really don't show a whole lot of emotion. I get asked a lot, have you ever been afraid on an investigation? Have you ever walked out on an investigation? If I was afraid or I showed fear or I walked out of an investigation, what good am I to that family? I mean, they're looking to me for answers, or looking to our team for answers. And if I'm doing things like that, then I'm not helping anybody. And I've been in some beautiful homes, and we've commented on that. I mean, yeah, just absolutely beautiful remodeled farmhouses, brand new homes that were built on really unfortunate pieces of land. But yeah, it's you try to treat everyone the same.
Yeah, definitely. I was more like when you pull up to that creepy old like farmhouse or something heavy. Like there was this one house that I did. It was an old church, and it looked like a church. I was like, oh wow, this is gonna be cool. I don't care if it's haunted or not. It's kind of like stuff like that. Yeah.
There are certain buildings you pull up to, and I read Dana's question there, and
I know, me too. Me too.
Because it got a story, but no, you do. You drive up to some places, and it has that look.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we try to keep that all in the car, and not too much revealing as we get into the home.
Definitely. Now, how about before we get to this next question here? How about when you're driving? I don't know if you have a partner or what, but when I'm driving with my wife, or if I'm with just like a friend who's not in the paranormal, we'll drive past a house. I'm like, oh, look at that house. Then they have no clue what I'm talking about. I'm just like, no, that house is haunted. Like, oh.
We have a lot of people on the team that do that. I'm not that guy.
You're not that guy.
So
you don't go on road trips to, like, instead of license plates, you're looking for creepy old houses.
No, that's not me. I have friends that do that, but yeah, for some reason I'm not that guy.
Okay. I mean, it's, we all have our own ways of entertaining ourselves when on long car rides. So.
Yeah.
I am that guy. I'm totally that guy. I did it to Brian. We were actually in the middle of a conversation like we are now, and I interrupted the whole conversation. I was just like, dude, look at that house. That house. I want to go in there. We were driving home from the Hinsdale House, and yeah, I'm totally that guy. It's fun to me, but like, it's also part of like being an empath. You feel stuff, and kind of with that too. When you with all these years of being in the paranormal, do you kind of find that you're sensitive to a home? So like basically like you can feel like there's some homes that you just open the door and you're just like, okay, yeah, there's something here. Glad we're here to help.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, there's I would say 75% of the homes that we walk into, I get a pretty good feeling right away. Just from doing it this long and kind of opening up, and my friend Dana likes to bust my chops because I don't like to admit that I have some kind of gift. But I do. I can't control it. So it just happens. And then I'm left going, well, what the hell was that? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've walked into plenty of places and had that happen.
I like that, where you're just, you're sitting there and you can almost feel like something's coming or something's just going to come right at you, just like, what was that?
He says in my new book,
the doors kept opening.
You should trust your instincts.
Go for it.
This is crazy, isn't it?
Tim.
Yeah.
It is time, my friend. It is the Into the Abyss section. It's the section of our podcast where we give you 13 fast fire questions, answer them as quickly and as thoroughly as possible.
All right.
Hold on. I've never done this before, Brian. Next time you make a cool intro like that, you gotta like warn me before, because that was awesome.
Oh, that's cute. Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
No,
I've never seen that intro before, man. That's brand new.
Yeah, really it is.
Cool, man. So
it is.
I had to just kind of pause and interrupt because that was brand new. That's a surprise to me. So that was awesome, brother.
Yeah,
all right, sorry. Continue on.
All right, so I'm going to give you reference points for number 1 and number 13, and we're going to jump right into it. All right, my friend?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Number 1. What's the difference between investigating with and without the owners of a private residence?
There really isn't any for me. We handle it the same way, whether they're there or not, because we've had owners leave recorders and stuff, which I probably would do too if I had strangers in my home. Mm-hmm. But we try to handle ourselves the same either way.
Is there such a thing as ghost dogs?
As what?
As like animal spirits, ghost dogs.
Oh, I thought you said bugs. No. Yes, there are. We've dealt with them.
Okay. What's the most haunted state in America, in your opinion?
I don't know if I can narrow it down to a state, but I'm going to go on the Northeast because that seems to be where all the history is.
Gotcha. What's the most common solution when helping a private residence?
Providing comfort, providing as many answers as we can, and then working with them to decide what the next step is.
And I mean, we're all curious now. How did you self-educate yourself 13 years ago?
A lot of reading, a few documentaries, and I was also a product of the show Ghost Hunters.
Gotcha.
But that's at the bottom of the list. Just want to make that clear.
Okay, so Tim bases everything off of the TV shows. Got it. All right,
yeah.
So
that's what he does.
Yeah, that's what I got out of that.
Yeah, all of our investigations are 40 minutes long,
mm-hmm.
and we take commercial breaks.
Yep. Demons everywhere. Gotcha. All right, so how important are Paracons when it comes to the paranormal community?
I think they're more important than people know. It's a great networking opportunity for me as an investigator, and it's also a great opportunity for folks to meet the people that they've seen on TV and then go and see the people that may not be as well known, such as myself, talk about what they do, and it's a good opportunity to learn.
Gotcha. So now if you had to investigate with a dog, what breed would you investigate with?
Boy, if I had to, we'd probably go with the lab.
Understood. Any particular reason why?
The kid over my corner was a lab mix.
Yeah, well, there you go. What's the most impactful picture you have hanging behind you?
I would say probably, as I get out of the way, the middle one. It's one of the very first photos. That's me and Murray.
Wow, that's so awesome. What is the best way to grow a paranormal team?
The best way to grow a paranormal team is not to do it the way I did. I would find a group and learn as much as I can from them, and get some confidence and get some experience within the field. And then if you want to branch out and form your own team and go from there, that's probably the way to do it. I jumped in feet first and haven't looked back.
I like that. Now, 250 residential cases, people. What was the scariest one?
Scariest, I guess we would go with the one of the investigations in Chilton, Wisconsin. We were dealing with a spirit of a 2-year-old boy that had been murdered by his foster father, and actually had interactions with the foster father, this very creepy old man. And part of the show was based off of that, and just our interactions with him. So it was unnerving.
Yeah, no kidding. Would you rather dress up in the full Ohio State garb and watch a full game, or do 3 back-to-back public hunts?
3 back-to-back public hunts any day. You could pretty much ask me anything, or dress up in Ohio State garb, and it would be the other thing.
Hey, I understand. I get it. So after 13 years in the paranormal field, was there a standout year in your paranormal community, or in your paranormal, I guess, career that you would remember? Is there like one year that there's a tremendous amount of growth, or a standout year?
2013, things took off for us as far as being known to the general paranormal field. Not so much the general public, which I'm okay with. I like being able to go to the gas station and nobody knows who I am. But within the field, it was surreal for me to go to events and have people that I had seen on TV yell over to me to get me to come over to talk to them. That took me a while to get used to.
Yeah. Okay. And now it's the last one. It's number 13. What's one thing you would want to tell your paranormal community?
Treat the paranormal field with respect, and just remember that, especially for me, there's so many things so many opportunities I've been afforded because of the paranormal community, the paranormal field, that I take it very seriously. I want to be that ambassador for the field that people can look at and go, hey, I think he's doing things for the right reasons. So just respect the field.
I like that a lot, Tim. I like that a lot.
I like seeing you guys again because it was just my
I got so distracted, man. Normally when Brian brings our guests on, it's just their face. I like to be like, all eyes are on you, because it is shocking. I've been interviewed, and then all of a sudden it's just your face, and it's like boom. And that's one thing that I don't think anyone ever really gets used to. It's seeing your own face on a screen or hearing your own voice. So it's kind of I was just so distracted by that intro, man. It totally threw me off my game.
I thought we were going to break. It was all of a sudden boom.
I know.
I got done talking, and
I'm like,
yeah.
Commercial.
No.
I know.
Normally,
commercial break. We'll be back with the demons.
Yeah. No. Normally, I do a smooth transition, pop right into like the moving photo there. But no, it's a whole nother factor of, did you hear that? What's going on? It's just, I don't know. We'll get it down.
No, that's great. Now,
and
next time I'll know. Now I won't be surprised.
Oh, maybe it will. Who knows?
Oh,
It might just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I guess you are good for that.
But luckily, you know, as we were asking these questions, we got a ton of other questions. But Shawn, was there anything else before we just dove into all these other questions in the comments?
You know what? No, because there's some questions. There's some people that have been waiting here.
Gotcha.
Like this one here. This is a pretty important one. We were talking about driving the car. Who controls the music, the driver or the passenger?
Typically, Todd is the passenger, and he gets to control the music.
For me, it depends. If it's me and the kids, I control the music. If it's me and a friend, I'll let them put on their music.
Yeah, I'm not a real big music guy. When it's just me in the car, it's generally sports radio, which makes me incredibly dull. Yeah, that's usually what I'm listening to.
I always give a seniority to the driver. I don't, you know, it's whatever keeps them more awake. You know, we're not trying to have any accidents. That's also at the same time, I'm usually the one driving all the time. So I don't know, but I'm not picky with music either, unless it's like maybe like hardcore rap. That's just not my scene. I get why people like it, but oh yeah, and there's some empathy over here. We've got a lot of people that are saying I'm that guy when it comes into saying, "Oh,
look at that
house totally looks haunted."
Yeah,
I'm not saying that guy is a bad thing.
No. It's just a lot of empathy. Yeah,
they're just
Yeah, but if we, you know,
they're making fun of me for being like, yeah, I'm that guy.
If we drive past Lambeau Field, I always put my hand on my heart. If we drive past the Horseshoe, I always flip the double birds. Just, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
Want to know something about Mr. Mersall? This is awesome. Every time an ambulance passes, every time you pass an animal on the side of the road, every single time, man, without a freaking beat, he doesn't miss it. It is amazing. I wish I could be that guy, because I don't stop and think. I'm so involved in what's going on in here that it's like, man, it's like really just all it takes is take 1 second, and that's just it's pointing that awesome thing. I'll always remember the first time I saw Brian do that, and it just always touched me. It's really cool when you have that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, History and Highlights says you listen to yodeling.
No, this guy's crazy. No, I don't. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, I'm all down for crazy new things, I suppose, but that doesn't get me hyped. I wouldn't sleep.
I'm pretty open to a lot of different music, and
I mean, you wouldn't fall asleep if you were a driver to that. I mean, you'd almost be disturbed awake. Yeah, that's a good one, but no.
All right. Here, Jamie Lynn, she wants to know, have you ever had to focus on the land surrounding the house versus the house? And yes, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, quite a few times, actually. The most recent was they lived along a river and did some research and found that it was actually a community for Native American land way back. So we did a lot of investigating down. I feel like Chris Farley now. We did a lot of investigating down by the river. No van, but did a lot of investigating by the river and trying to communicate. We actually came up empty on that one, though. But we did focus most of our investigation outside.
I figured that's what you would be leaning towards, because you alluded to towards the more beginning of the podcast where someone asked, is it like the geographical area? And you said, or no, it was one after that. It's not so much, you know, type of house, how long it's been there, etc. It's more the land, and it's the history of the land. And that plays a more like a significant factor. So I could definitely see you investigating more of the land versus houses generally.
Yeah, and it really all depends on, like I said earlier, with the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the puzzle dictates.
It could be so many different things, right? I mean, if people go to flea markets, people, you know what? You can go to church one day, and the spirit of a little boy could just think that you're a nice person and follow you home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be so many different things.
So the moral of the story here, Shawn, is don't be a nice person, and spirits won't follow you home.
That's what Sean's trying to get
I
at.
mean, I don't know. I don't know about that, because I think that being an asshole can attract the same thing, but you might end up with more of an asshole spirit following you home. So
yeah.
I don't know. If you want to get home, get stuff thrown at you when you get home, I don't know. Be an asshole, you know. And that brings us to this question here. Have you ever been goosed or touched on an investigation?
Shawn, can you just explain what goosed means? I guess I'm just unfamiliar with it. Can you explain? I wanted Shawn to do his best.
Thank you for that.
But I appreciate
it. It's a little
like
it could be the back of the hand, or you can give them the full bowling ball grip.
Yeah,
bowling ball grip.
Yeah,
Yeah, think about that one.
Like, you ever use those Chinese balls?
Okay, I guess I'm not following like what's going on. Like, are they touching your calf or something, or like a little like calf touch?
No, it's more the undercarriage.
Yeah, it's like if they get you in your no square, they go boom.
Gotcha, like the armpit. Like I don't like when people touch my armpit.
No, your no square.
Yeah, the armpits, mate.
No, your no square.
I don't know.
You don't know what your no square is?
I guess I'm not following it, guys.
Okay, so when usually it's when a guy gets tapped in the balls, man.
Thank you, Shawn.
No problem.
Oh my God. So
hey, to be fair,
he made me say it. I was trying to keep it G-rated. I mean, my kids watch the show sometimes, but he made me say it. So, Katie, if you're watching with the kids, Brian made me say it.
I take full responsibility.
Blame him. Blame that guy.
Blame that guy. So yeah, I have been. We did a public investigation, and I don't know how to tell this story without.
That's why he doesn't like public investigations. Everyone.
We long story short, we had a couple of spirits we were dealing with in the area. One was just grumpy, and it actually somehow walked through me. And for a second there, I was not in the best of moods. But anyway, I was standing in a doorway, and this was in Petoskey, Michigan. I was standing next to my good friend John Cassidy, and something started playing with my phone in my pocket, like lifting it up and dropping it. And I tried to get John's attention and let him know what was happening. And then it started to rub my stomach. And I thought, well, this is weird. So I tried to whisper it to John as to not alarm everybody in the room. And then it started helicoptering what you don't want helicoptered, and just kind of cranking. And I looked at John and I said, John, there is something grabbing my... And John looked at me and said, no, that can't be. So anyway, on the floor below us, Andrea Perrin and Tim Woolworth were investigating with another group, and they were using spirit boxes. So John told me to go down and talk to Andrea and Tim. It was the first time I ever met Tim Woolworth. I don't know if you're familiar with Tim. Mm-hmm. One of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. It was the first time I had met him, and I had to go tell him that something played with my wee-wee. And so I pulled Tim off to the side, and I'm explaining this to him. And as I'm explaining, the spirit box in the hallway starts yelling out for Tim. Well, we're both Tim, so we go down to the spirit box, and now it's myself, Tim Woolworth, Andrea Perrin, and about 15 of our closest friends. And through the spirit box, as plain as can be, this woman's voice says, Brenda is the grabber. followed by about 20 evil little children's laughs through the speaker. So, yeah. I got helicoptered by a ghost.
Helicoptered?
Yeah.
Like helicoptered?
Like if you're playing like Jack in the Box and you're turning the crank.
So I just need to know, because like there's like 250 investigations read about. Is it over or under 125? Like, give me like a halfway point. Like, how recent was it? Was it earlier in your career and you said, you know what, this is the field for me? Was it recent?
The reason I do it. I'm like, I can't wait for
that. Yeah, I didn't know if it was
like get molested.
Yeah,
like was it last year, and then you started contemplating like the last 12 years that you've been doing it? Like, walk me through it.
I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago.
About 5 or 6 years ago, like right around
at Little Traverse Bay Parafest. So it was a public investigation.
Wow.
So about the halfway point, you said.
It was like, hey, what's in it for me? And then I thought molestation. That's what's in it.
See, people are chasing that 1.5K, and Tim says there's something better.
Yeah.
Just wait.
There's something better than that. That's hilarious. You know, for me, I've been like I've had my ass like grabbed, but that's like it's not that. The craziest experience I've had with being touched was I was investigating underneath this freeway, this freeway bridge where there's a lot of suicides. It's a 271 bridge, or it hits 77 going into Cleveland, going over Valley View. It's the Valley View Bridge. Sorry, I had to build that up because I was trying to remember what the bridge is called. Anyways, so we're under there and we're investigating, and I'm being like led towards these like wooded area. Like something wants me to go back there. I just kind of like felt like it wanted me to go back there. And I got to the woods. I was like, you know what? This doesn't feel right. Like, this isn't a good idea. So we turned around and started walking back, and I felt something. You know how like a teacher or a grandma or aunt or someone would grab the top of your ear and they yank it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, I felt something grab the top of my ear, but it felt like cobwebby. It didn't feel, it wasn't like solid. It felt like weird and like webby, but it like grabbed the top of my ear and it yanked on my ear. That is that's the hardest I've ever been touched. That's the most I've honestly, in all the years I've investigated, I've never been scratched.
Gotcha.
That's the most I've ever been touched, was that in the moment. That was insane. That's the moment when something like that happens. You don't forget. I mean, as much as we sit here and we laugh about the helicoptering on an investigation, that had to be like a crazy experience that will follow you no matter where you go, just because that's just one of those things.
Well, we went back the year after, and we were doing the public investigation with Elizabeth Saint. And she was upstairs, and somebody had told her the story from the previous year, and she was asking the spirit to touch me again. And this time, thankfully, he just touched me on the shoulder in the basement because I was getting a lot of rubbing of the shoulders. So yeah, it ended up. Her name was Brenda, and she was very interested in me. And I guess if you can't appeal to the living, it's
yeah.
I
mean, hey, I was advised. There's a time I was going to bring these trigger objects. We were going to investigate a jail. I was going to bring some Playboy magazines. I figured that they would like it. A psychic friend of mine said, "You know what? Why would they like it? They'll never get to touch a woman again." And they told me they didn't want me to bring it because they're going along an investigation. I was like, oh. I did not think of it that way. So she looked at it as a negative way. And but then again, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's the difference between a man and a girl, or a man and a woman, I should say. But it's just all in perspective, right? So but it brings back to, it's human spirit. That attraction doesn't go away. right? So, I mean, if a woman is a real, is a type of a woman in living is to go after a guy and make the first move on a guy. I mean, in death, why wouldn't she be any different? This woman liked you.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
She liked you.
And there's a lot of other people in the paranormal community that like you because you do the awesome potographs. So where did this fundraising start? I mean, how did this idea start?
This is where I make you guys cry. Cool. No, it's like I had mentioned earlier, about 2012, 2013, we started to get some more opportunities. And I was getting invited to paranormal conferences, and they give you a table and you can sell whatever you want at the event. And I didn't have anything to sell, but I mean, that was okay with me. But we got to go back a few years before that. 2006, I bought this home and I moved in, and the first thing I wanted to do was get a dog. And I got a lab pit mix, and his name was Murray. I was going through a lot of things personally when I brought him home. I was battling severe depression. And about 3-4 months after I brought him home, one night I sat in my bathroom with a knife and kind of went through all my friends and all my family and why it would be okay if I wasn't here anymore. I had gotten to that point. And when you're at that point, there really is no rational thoughts. Like, your brain has convinced you that you're worthless. And no amount of anything can bring you out of that. And as I was about to do it, I felt something on my arm. And I looked down, and it was Murray, and he was looking up at me. And he had been beaten as a puppy and rescued, and that's how I ended up with him. And I just looked down at him, and I broke down crying. And I said, how can I do this to him? You know, if I'm gone, who will take care of him? And he saved my life that night. And I spent the rest of my life trying to make it up to him and thank him for all these wonderful things that I get to do. Since 2007, when he was my angel, everything that's happened to me since then is because of him. I really believe I wouldn't be here otherwise. And when I started to get opportunities, Murray was starting to get older, and I was like, I want to create some sort of legacy for him. I want people to know what he did for me. And I started opening up about the suicide attempt and about my depression and about animal shelters and how important his love was for me. And I combined everything together, and it made me unique because nobody else is doing that in the paranormal field. And then I would throw in paranormal topics too. And people really caught on to it. So when I had a chance, we created Potographs for Pooches. And in the beginning, it really was all about, hey, let's take photos of Murray and I, and he'll photograph them. We had a stamp made. And then I would personalize them at events, and we'd sell them for $10, and we donate them to a shelter in the area of the event. And the first event we did, we raised $10, and it was disappointing, but it also was the start of something that I could never have imagined. And then we started to get some people that were behind it, and John and Jackie Cassidy with Little Traverse Bay Parafest were really pushing Potographs for Pooches when I went there in 2013. And we raised a few $100s. And then later on, John convinced me, hey, let's do Potographs exclusive events, and all the ticket sales can go to a shelter in the area. And the first event that we did was $741. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And unfortunately, Murray passed away in October of 2019. But we continue to do Potographs for Pooches to continue his legacy. And it's thank him every day for these wonderful things I get to do. I talked about how the paranormal field has provided me with this platform, and the paranormal community has really gotten behind Potographs for Pooches. I can never repay them. But at the end of the day, if I look back, none of this happens without Murray. So Potographs for Pooches will always be about Murray. It'll always be about helping helping those animal shelters and saving as many animals as we can. We really started to hit our stride in 2019 into 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We raised $7,500 at an event in Michigan, and then
Wow.
COVID hit, and we had to shut everything down. We came back this past March in Houghton Lake, Michigan, and we shattered our record, and we raised $13,223 for silver muzzle.
Nice.
So to date, in 8 years, we've raised over $61,000 for animal shelters around the country. And it's really become what I'm known for. And as you could probably tell, I got a huge passion for it.
Yeah.
And it will always be about Murray. And it always was when he was here, and it won't change after he's gone, because it's his legacy, not mine. And I've always said that I'm the guy that gets to tell his story. And people have latched on to his story. And I remember when I first opened up about all the things that I went through, I was naive to how people would react. And people reacted so positively, and they would stand in line at my table to tell me their story. So I got to hear their story about how their animal saved their life. And I was never expecting that. And I never had any expectations when we started this. And, you know, like I said, here we are 8 years later and over $61,000 raised. I couldn't be more grateful for the paranormal community for getting behind this and making it a success. You know, I didn't make this a success. Murray had a big part in it. But it really comes down to all the people that have donated their time, donated their locations, and the folks that come to the events and get behind it. And yeah, so I mean, that's Potographs in a nutshell. That's why we do this. And I can't imagine a time when I won't be doing Potographs and raising money for animal shelters. Kind of became known as the dog guy, and I'm okay with that.
That's amazing.
What's the best way to support the cause?
PotographsForPooches.com. There's actually a donate button on the homepage.
Okay.
Anything that you donate goes to the next event we do. And the next event, Potographs exclusive event that we do, is going to be in Ripon, Wisconsin. It's my home event. My very good friend Dustin Perry does a ton of work with suicide awareness. And since he's become a part of the Potographs family, has just really latched onto this whole movement and really helped make it a huge success. He's going to be in Ripon on September 18th. Some fantastic people. Dana Stricker is going to be there. Bill and Chris Reap are going to be there. Myself, Justin Livigs, and we're going to add a couple other people and just get together and have a great day, talk paranormal. And at the end of the day, these Potographs events, there's one purpose and there's one goal. And it's all about raising the most money we can for these animals. So, yeah, I'm humbled by what we've been able to do and carry on with what we've been able to do. And I actually got one of my other dogs, Molly, from an event for Silver Muzzle Cottage. They brought her as an ambassador for the event. And Kim Scarrett, the lady who runs the shelter, looked at me at the end of the day and she's like, "You can take her home if you want."
Wow.
And she's been with me for 2.5 years now. And
Wow.
and just recently, about a year and a half ago, I got Ray from a shelter that we had helped and we had raised money for. After Murray passed away, they got a hold of me and they said, "Hey, we got a litter of puppies. They're lab pit mix, same thing as Murray was. You can have your choice." So I got to have pick of the litter, and she looks just like him. And she's got impossible paws to fill, but just a sweetheart. And yeah, so the paranormal stuff is great, and I'm blessed and I'm grateful. But the stuff I get to do with Potographs for Pooches, I mean, it sounds trivial to say that I'm grateful, because it should be. They don't make a word big enough for how I feel about the people that have supported this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how many people have rescued a dog, have gotten a dog from a rescue place. Rescue dogs, in my opinion, I mean, it's like they appreciate it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put down dogs that aren't rescues, because they're fantastic too. But there's just something. I've always gotten rescue dogs, and if you go to any of these shelters, if it's a county shelter, if it's a privately ran shelter, take a look around. They need help. They all do, and there's not enough of this going around for these shelters. There's shelters. It's just so bad, and there's some places where they're putting animals down because they're not finding homes. They don't have room for it, and that's horrible. And people are like, well, don't go to these shelters that put animals down. But it's like, wait a minute, you don't go to these shelters, and they're going to put these animals down. It's lose. But the only thing that wins is when you go and you rescue that pet. You go find the one that's right for you. It doesn't matter where you get it from. Rescue it from a shelter. And when you go out and you make these fundraisers and you help these places, we need more of that. Every community needs more of that, because every community has a shelter, and every community has a shelter that needs help. What you do is amazing. You use what you've built from the paranormal, and you use it as a way to help an amazing cause. So good for you, man. That is awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing to me, man. It's so great. And I don't know. As an animal lover, it's just so great to see that, and to hear about the community backing it in such an amazing way. It's fantastic.
I got to give a quick shout out because next April we're doing an event at Ashmore Estates, and I don't know who's all familiar with Robin Terry, the owner of Ashmore Estates. He's given us that place free for the weekend.
Nice.
Friday and Saturday nights we're doing investigations and then lectures all day Saturday, and that'll be April 23rd, and that's going to be in celebration of Murray's birthday. He would have been 16 that weekend. Oh, wow. So we're going to do a lot of celebrating and raise as much money as we can, And along with that, I get opportunities to go to some pretty great events that aren't Potographs exclusive events, but it allows me to network and get to know people and add them to the Potographs family. And Dan Class, we were talking about before, he's given me Hinsdale House for a Saturday night and said raise as much money as you can. And I'll always love Dan for that. I mean, that was an amazing gesture on his part, and he's become a great friend. So, the paranormal community just kind of put their arms around me and said, you know what, we're going to make this succeed. And
that's awesome.
I can't thank them enough.
And, as I was saying at the beginning of the show, when the location gives up a prime weekend night for a cause, that's huge. That's huge. That's their bread and butter that they're donating to you.
Yep.
So that's so huge, and that's so awesome. I mean, Dan, he's an awesome guy. He really is, and he's just one of those people. He kind of wears his heart on the sleeves, and he's not afraid to show it. And that's one of the things that makes him such a great guy. And he lets people use the fame of his location to help, and that's so cool that he extended that out to you and to the dogs.
Last May, we actually went there. A few of us from the team. We rented the Hinsdale House out for the weekend, and Dan found out that it was my birthday that week, and he showed up with 5 dozen wings. Wouldn't take any money for it, and we just sat there for about an hour, and it was good to catch up with a friend.
Yeah,
and he did that for me, and I think those are the things that people need to understand. That Dan Class really is a good guy. He's a good person. Yeah. And, I could go on and on about people in the paranormal that have been so helpful to me. But yeah, Dan has definitely become a great friend. If you get a chance to go to the Hinsdale House, I'll do a little quick infomercial. The place is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Do it if you can.
Actually, it's funny you bring that up. We actually just did an investigation at the Hinsdale House. It was Brian's first time there. It was awesome. We were there with Mike Ricksecker, and Megan and Nicole. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names, but I'm happy I remembered your first names. It was a really good time. We had we had a couple crazy experiences. The REM pod. Brian got this fabulous idea. Hey, put the REM pod upstairs, right above the vent that's right above the vent that's above the ceiling of the living room, right?
Yeah.
That REM pod got a really big hit. Got a couple big hits, and then for the rest of the night, it was going off. We're laying there on the couches trying to get some sleep. Nope.
It was to the point where if it was the battery, I wish it would have just ran out, but it was doing it for like 3 hours. It was going from like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Just
and
like
it was
sporadically.
It was to the point where it was just obnoxious. I was like, hey, listen, if you're up there like touching it, we're about to brawl right now. We're about to like throw hands. I was so tired. I think we all went to bed like right around 2 a.m. And for 3 hours, I just kept waking up to that thing just exploding.
Yeah.
Don't, if you wanted to talk to us, we were there all day. I don't know. It was a real treat. But you like the Hinsdale House too? Yeah.
It was fabulous. One of the daughters that lived there, Laura, her room is the first one on the right as you go up the stairs. Mm-hmm. Later in life, she ended up committing suicide. So I went up into her room by myself and had a discussion with her because, quite honestly, I understood, where she was at in that moment. And, lucky for me, I didn't do it. But yeah, I just sat and talked with her and did my own session with her. And we had a lot of personal experiences during that. But yeah, it was, the Hinsdale House will always be one of my favorites. I've been there twice now, once for a Potographs event, and then once when we rented it out and just kind of spent the weekend at the
for your
Hinsdale.
birthday.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So when we were outside of the Hinsdale House, we heard a sound. It sounded like almost like an owl. I played it for Dan. Dan's like, that is no owl. That is a banshee. I'm like, there's a banshee? But when he said it, like, I got the chills. I'm like, that wasn't an owl. I mean, I could play it. I've got the clip, but it's just so interesting. It's just like it sounds like a hoot. It's just like a hoot, one single hoot. Like when I've looked up all different owl calls, all different animal calls in northeast and northwest of New York, and trying to find this call that we heard. I can't find anything that was like what we experienced outside of the Hinsdale House that night. And
yeah, I wasn't comfortable in the woods there. Not just because of what could be paranormal, but also there's a lot of things in those mountains that would want to eat you. And and I wanted nothing to do with any of it. So like I would go up there during the day, where at least I had a fighting chance where I could see something coming at me. But yeah, I stayed out of there at night. Yeah.
Well, you're right. There are bears. There's coyotes. There's wolves. There's stuff out there.
And I'm a pretty sizable meal. I'm like 6'4", 260 pounds. They could probably live for a while on me. So.
No, I'm a stickler for phones on investigations. I'm not trying to create any interference. But for the podcast, it was like one of the first times we did like a live show for the podcast, because not a lot of people have the opportunity to go there. So we wanted to bring, our paranormal community with us. And one of the things they're saying was, look, guys, it's cute. You got that creepy, crazy basement. Like, it's awesome that you're going down there by yourselves, bring us with you. But man, we want to go outside. We've been hearing Shawn say, you guys got to go outside. So as soon as we go outside, we're like, okay. And then we started hearing that. The energy changed, and we're like, all right, homies, we might want to go back inside, man. I ain't messing with that.
Right. Well, what I did was I actually set up a camera outside, so you can kind of see. So it's going right up the trail.
I think I lost you.
Yeah, your photo's frozen. Your video's frozen.
It froze. Oh well, I don't know what happened there, but that was just, I wasn't gonna play it. I just wanted to show the static camera that I had going up the trail all night long. So I still have a lot of footage to review. I'm not even halfway through it. I've been reviewing it because there's something out there, and it's
If you're not
so
gonna
a lot
show
of it, a lot of it is animals, but there's something more to that.
Could you at least do like some kind of rendition for Tim? Because he wasn't there?
I feel like you should try that. That's.
Oh,
I'm not good at making impressions.
Oh wow! Look at that. It says the connection's unstable. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I think I lost you guys for about 10, 15 seconds because we all froze.
That's because we were talking about the Banshee.
Came back and you guys were talking about stuff.
Yeah,
so that's
Shawn was just going to do the Banshee rendition, and we were going to answer some more questions.
It's a hoot. Sounds like, think of like one owl hoot. That's what it sounds
like how?
Like hoot.
That's not, listen. If I heard that I would be concerned if I heard hoot. I'd be out.
Okay, here, I'll tell you what. I'll try this one more time. Last time I did it, it messed everything up. But here, let's do this. Oh, you know what? I have an idea. No, let's do it. What if I go? Okay.
He says he's staying in the house. I don't blame you, Eddie.
Turn volume up. I'm kidding. You should hear it well.
Hello.
Did you hear that? Like that first, that time it goes, it makes the hoot, and then it makes like another weird noise right after. I have no clue what's going on. But like your first thought is, this is an owl, but there's something very off about it. But this is just how creepy this place is, though. This land.
Yeah.
It could definitely play tricks on you.
Hi. You guys hear that?
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah, so this went on for about 3 minutes, this whole clip. And then it doesn't happen again. It doesn't happen again all night. I one thing I did do, because I wanted to see if it did happen, I went through all the files, the video files, and I was just like kind of like click through them real quick just to see if I would hear something like that. Just by doing that, I wasn't able to find it again. But like I said, I have a lot more to review. If I hear an owl that's closer, then no, I guess I would consider that to be debunked. But I don't know. I just haven't heard. I've done a lot of camping. I love being outside. I've been camping in a lot of different areas all over. I've been camping in the Sierra Nevadas. I've been camping in New York and all up and down the Alleghenies. I've been camping in Canada. I've done a lot of camping. I've never heard what we heard that night.
But Tim?
Yeah. I'm here.
There's something we need to hear from you.
What's that?
Oh.
And that's Paranormal Over Under. It's where you give us the verdict. Is this topic overrated, underrated, properly rated?
I am about to make so many friends.
and one sentence response to back up your claim if it's overrated, underrated, or properly rated. We've got 10 topics for you. Are you ready, my friend?
Oh my gosh. Okay, 10 topics. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Paranormal over, under. Let's do this. Number 1, debunking.
Properly rated. I think it is an important part, but going in too skeptical and not allowing yourself to experience the building is probably not the way to go either.
The positive impact of a dog.
Saved my life. So underrated. Yeah.
Large paranormal locations.
I'm going to go with overrated because most of the time when you get into those locations, there's far too many people there for you to do an actual investigation.
The Michigan football team.
Overrated. Yeah, what? They are. They are overrated. They don't deserve to be. I can't, in good conscience, say underrated. They're overrated because they're going on tradition, and they really haven't been that good for many, many years.
That's okay. I'm a UFC fan, so I really don't know anything about football. It's just
we got the Cleveland Browns, man.
Yeah.
All right. we had a fluke year last year. That was weird.
Properly rated. REM pods.
I'm going to say properly rated. I've only used them a few times. And I didn't have consistent success with it. So I'm not going to trash a piece of equipment that I haven't used enough to have an opinion on. It wouldn't be fair.
Private residence locations.
I'm going to say underrated. Some of my most rewarding experiences in the paranormal have happened in private residence locations.
Paracons.
Oh boy, this is where I make friends. I'm going to say underrated. And I know they get a bad rap, but you get out of those events what you want. If you want to go there that weekend and you want to wake up both days with an incredible hangover, you can find ways to do that. If you want to go there and learn something and add something to your repertoire as a paranormal investigator, you can also do it. You can also do that. So it really depends on what you want to get out of it.
SB7 Spirit Box.
Overrated. There are some spirit boxes that I like very much. Most of them have been made by friends of mine. But with the SB7, I have to turn it off after a while because I can't handle the static in my ear.
Public hunts.
Overrated. But please come to the Potographs for Pooches public.
Well, there's one that's properly rated out there.
And let's support the Felicias, okay?
Yeah, support the Felicias.
And support Potographs.
No, the reason I say overrated is because inevitably you end up in a group of like 10 people, and 8 of those people are mediums and psychics, and they feel something every 3 seconds. And after a while, you're just like, man, can we just sit here in the quiet for a while, please?
Right, they bust out the ghost app on their phone.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm trying hard not to be the old man of the paranormal and say, get off my lawn.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not a real big fan of the public hunts, but they have their place.
I think that public hunts are great for people that want to investigate, who want to experience an investigation, but
agreed,
maybe not, get fully into it to the point where they're paying top dollar to rent out large locations or even take the risk of going into someone's home. I think that they're good. They're good. Honestly, That's how I got started in the paranormal. That's how I met my friends. So they're also good for networking.
Agreed. Public hunts have their place. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because of, what they're used for in some instances. They're necessary evil for me as far as raising money for fundraisers. I guess for me, it's just, I don't know. I get bored with them.
Aren't they fun though? Like when you're the one hosting it, I think it's fun. I think it's fun because you meet these different people, you get to show them, and sometimes, yes, you feel like you're putting on an act. You're supposed to entertain these people, but at the same time, it's like you're giving these people an experience of a lifetime, and you get to meet some pretty cool people.
I'll give you two answers. If it's a Potographs event, I don't enjoy them because I'm so stressed out that weekend because I want everything to go well and I'm trying to control everything and make sure everybody has a good time. If I get brought into another event and they want me to be a part of the ghost hunt, I'll have fun with those. Then you can interact with people, meet people, that type of thing. So there's two sides of it for me.
Yeah.
And number 10.
That was a lot more than one sentence, wasn't it, Brian?
That's my fault.
That's okay. That's okay. No. We're all having fun here. Number 10, paranormal TV shows.
Underrated, and that might surprise you.
Oh, it does.
Here's the reason I say that. The paranormal television shows have opened doors up for us that previously were not opened and have allowed us to become more acceptable to the general public.
Mm-hmm.
They've given us more opportunities as far as investigations and meeting friends. That's why I say underrated.
No, I'm sorry.
That was paranormal over under. And a beautiful picture. Sorry, Shawn, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So when it comes to TV shows, I agree. The TV shows have opened a door in the paranormal where it has actually opened up people to the idea of it, right? And now another kind of a downside of these shows, though, is like doing private home investigations. People there's times when people want you to come to their home and be their nightly entertainment. There's sometimes, and it's it's our job to try and weed those people out, but sometimes you get those people, and then you have people investigating in their own homes. That I personally have a problem with. Mm-hmm. It's not safe, guys. You're inviting stuff into your home. People have asked me if watching a movie or watching the paranormal shows, if that's unintentionally inviting things into your home. My answer to that is no. You might be opening yourself up to feeling it more and being more aware of what's around you, but no. But the second you start asking for interaction, that's when you're inviting stuff into your home.
I've also told people, as far as doing investigations in their home and trying to interact, the more you try to interact with a spirit, the more it will interact.
Yep.
So don't ask the spirit to do things and then yell at it for doing what you asked it to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And I give that warning too when we go in for an investigation. We come in here and there's a good chance that the day or two after we're gone, your activity level is going to spike. Not because it's a bad thing, but because somebody came into the home that can finally interact with them. Right. And who knows how long they've been trying to interact. So those are some warnings that I always give people. And I always encourage them not to do audio in their own home. It's most of the time, by the time they've called us, they're so afraid of what's happening, but they can't help themselves, and they keep trying to communicate with it, which isn't healthy for them.
Right. It's not. And it like you said, you never know. You can ask for interaction today and get the reaction tomorrow. And when you're in your own home, I don't know. Me personally, I don't do anything in my home. If I'm testing out new equipment, it's outside. I don't do it inside my home. This is my safe space. And I tell people The first thing that if someone says, "Hey, check out the CVP I got in my house," I'm like, "Okay, but don't do it again." There's one client that I actually I was just kind of like in the interviewing process. I haven't met her in person yet, and she showed me security camera footage, and she was to the point where she was watching her security footage in her home, looking for paranormal activity, and I was like, "You doing that? Is that intentions there? You want to have security cameras in your home to have footage of a human being, a living human being come into your home, then fine. Don't review it looking for paranormal activity. Don't. You're putting that attention out there." And she just kept on doing it. She kept on sending me these clips of these orbs and all this stuff. And I'm just like, explain what orbs are. But then I'm like, look, if you are going to continue to do this, I'm not going to be able to help you. Because you are inviting it. You are telling spirit it's okay. In fact, I want you to do whatever you can so I can see it. And then share it with my friends. Look how scary my home is. So you can't do that in your home if you don't want it. There's people that want it. You want it, do it all day. As long as you know what you're messing with, you know how to protect yourself. To each their own, man. But if it's just a regular person, I don't know. That's so hard. So what do you do when you have a client that you give them suggestions, but they just kind of don't want to follow them?
Eventually, you just kind of got to go separate ways. You can only, it's that whole adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I can give you all the information and all the tools to fix what's happening in your home. But at the end of the day, if you refuse to follow our suggestions, then at a certain point, we're just wasting our time. We did have a client that used a lot of footage from their security cameras in their home, and she had sent me a video, and there was a blanket balled up on the back of the couch. And at one point, this blanket is hanging there precariously, and at one point, it falls onto the couch. And she sent me the video, and she said, "Can you watch this and tell me what it is?" And I wrote back one word: gravity.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's all it is. You could search and search and search for a ghost, but if there's not one there, there's just not one there.
Yeah. And that's another thing, though. You can end up tricking your own mind. If you're looking for it, you can make yourself believe that there's something there that's not. The paranormal can do that. Even you can make yourself believe that there's something there that's not there. So that's one thing that you've got to keep in mind when you are on an investigation. It gets to be tricky, but you can really be playing tricks on you're sitting in a dark room. Mm-hmm. You can't see anything. Your brain and your eyes they're trying to make sense of what they're not seeing, right? So it's really, there's a lot of things to consider. And when you have someone in their home who doesn't know to consider these things, you can end up with a lot of different stuff. Andrew, I was just going to go on to Andrew's question. Mm-hmm. Sorry. So Andrew wants to know if a homeowner is standing their ground in their home, like this is my home, you have to leave type of thing. Is that the same as opening communication?
For me, no, because a lot of times we tell them to take back ownership of their home. Also, with a caveat in there that, let's not stand our ground and tell the spirit that it's my home unless you know that you're not dealing with. Like when I first had activity in my home, it was my dad. So going back to that, if I had been in my home and said, you know what, this is my home, get out, and then found out later it was my dad, that would be devastating. But yeah, that is one of the things that we kind of coach families on. At some point, let's take back your home, give them boundaries. I don't necessarily say, hey, let's Let's tell this spirit to leave. Let's give them boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to talk to me, if you want to interact with me, do it between these times. Give me this time for my family. Give me this time for me. If there's something you need to talk to me about, then let's find a time that works for both of us. It seems to have worked. So, I wish I could tell you how.
I know, right? I kind of did that with my house when I first purchased my house. I live in Century Home, and I kind of did that. I made a deal with the spirit of the house. I'm like, look, I want to be able to coexist with you. I want to live here. I want to have. We can even have a relationship. But the second you start scaring my children, we're gonna have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you just be confident. Lay those. There's nothing wrong with laying down ground rules. It's about the intention that's behind there too. So I don't think that you standing your ground, you taking back your space, that's not the same as doing an EVP session. So I don't know if that kind of answers that too.
I like that.
Now, you had mentioned that you don't use REM pods. When you go into investigating a home, it's a different animal. When you go into these locations that are investigated a lot, the spirits that are there that are intelligent, they're going to know how to interact with the REM pod. They're going to know better how to communicate through a spirit box. What do you find is the best way to gain communication in a private residence or business with the spirit that's not used to actually communicating with us?
Well, first I need to explain why I don't use a lot of the equipment. I'll use a piece of equipment once, and if it works for us, great. If it doesn't, we move on. The reason I don't use as much of equipment is I don't want to be spending so much time looking at this light and is it going to light up, or waiting for this piece of equipment to make a noise and miss something that happens right in front of my face.
Yeah.
That's always been my concern. I'm not anti-tech. I'm probably just not intelligent enough to use most of it, is what it comes down to. But what we use is your basic digital recorder, your basic IR cameras, and then we'll incorporate a EMF meter. I've used REM pods. I don't personally have one, just because it's not something that we've added to our repertoire. But I'm not anti those. It's just what has worked for us for so long is keeping it simple. And, if we bring in people to help us and they have that equipment, by all means, we'll use it. But it's just not something that we have in our bag of tricks on a typical investigation.
I can dig it. I can definitely dig it. I honestly think that in private homes that keeping it simple is best, because they're not going to know.
Well, and then spirit boxes, we don't use them very often in a private home because, as you know, those are freaking loud. Yeah. and you have a family there. You have a family there that's already afraid of what's happening in the home in most cases, and all you're doing is adding to that fear if you use those, because no matter how many times you tell somebody, hey, you're going to hear radio signals coming through this.
Yeah, it's so loud.
Yeah, not everything is communication from a spirit. The moment they hear anything, even if it's plain as day a radio station, they're going to take that and run with it. And we try to avoid that.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
So it's been about a little over 2 hours, and we're definitely cognizant of your time. What's the best way to flow energy to you? What can we help you plug on the closing notes, because we want to respect your time?
You can get a hold of me on Facebook, Tim Maile, last name Maile. Send me a message with it. Let me know that you listened to the show tonight, because Facebook caps us at 5,000 people, and I'm getting pretty close to that. So I want to make sure that the people that are sending me friend requests are people that I know. Yeah. Otherwise, Potographs for Pooches has a Facebook page. Fox Cities Paranormal Team has a Facebook page. Both of those have websites, which you have scrolling across the bottom, which I thank you for. Autographsforpooches.com, FoxCitiesParanormalTeam.com. Either way, you can find me. There's contact links on both of those pages. So I appreciate the time that you guys let me come on here and talk about my views and get the word out about Autographs and hopefully at some point we can get together again.
Yeah. I'd really enjoy that.
Definitely. I think we should. And we definitely, the next time you have an event, I'd love to have you on so we can help you promote that event.
Yeah.
I would love that. We're going to be in Michigan next year, March 5th. It's looking like Houghton Lake, Michigan. So I'll keep you guys in mind. I'll let you know. And hopefully we can get some Michigan people out there, even some Ohio fans maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That would be perfect.
Definitely. Hey, Tim, seriously, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh no, it's the honor is all ours. We're happy to have you on. We definitely there's so much to take in here, guys. And so guys, make sure if you missed any of the show, go back. It's been a real treat having Tim on. So
yeah, it really has.
Thank you. We really do appreciate you, Tim. Hopefully we can meet in person one day. And maybe it'll be at one of those cons. So
yeah, well, if we do, make sure you let me know so I know you're there and we can connect and have a chance to sit down and talk, get to know each other a little bit better. I appreciate you guys having me on again, and thank you so much. And you guys take care of yourselves.
Hey,
you too, Tim.
Hey, you too. And guys, with that, I hope we helped you guys over this Wednesday, this wonderful hump day, and help you slide on down into the weekends. Everyone, please have a great rest of your week and have a safe weekend. Stay safe and healthy, everybody.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
This paranormal adventure that we're all on, it connects us. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast with your host, Shawn Gilmore.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 10 years.
He was featured on the TV show Paranormal Survivor that airs on Travel Channel.
His passion is creating para-unity.
With your host, Brian Mursell.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 7 years.
He leads his own paranormal team.
He wants to help people start their paranormal adventure or grow their existing one. This is our paranormal adventure. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast.
It's about supporting. It's about making para-unity a real thing because we all need to support each other within our community. And that's what the show has always been about.